Good day, mates. Welcome back to Unpopular Aussie Opinions, where we dive headfirst into the gritty truths of our great game that most folks tiptoe around. I'm your host, and today, we are tackling a bombshell that's got the rugby league world in absolute uproar. NRL superstar Ezra Mam, the bloke who's supposed to be the future of the Broncos, caught red-handed with cocaine again, this time at a swanky hotel just near the nation's capital. Yeah, you heard that right. Not some quiet slip-up in the off-season shadows, but right in the thick of the 2025 premiership push, with whispers of a wild party that could derail everything he's fought for. And here's my unpopular take. This isn't just another young gun losing his way. It's a glaring symptom of how the NRL babies at stars while the rest of us pay the price in eroded trust and a league that's starting to feel more like a soap opera than a sport. Buckle up, because we are unpacking this mess layer by layer, and trust me, it's going to ruffle some feathers. Let's set the scene first, shall we? It's late October 2025, just days after the Broncos hoist that shiny NRL trophy skyward in a grand final thriller against the Storm. Ezra Mam's everywhere, smiling for the cameras, flashing that premiership ring like it's his get-out-of-jail-free card, even dropping a few colourful words on live telly that had the prudes clutching their pearls. The kid's 22, fresh off a suspension that kept him sidelined for the first 9 rounds, and suddenly he's the hero again, the prodigy who's risen from the ashes of scandal. But fast forward a week or so, and bam, reports hit the wires like a blindside tackle. Mam's holed up in a ritzy Canberra hotel, the sort of place where politicians sneak off and corporate splash cash, and police get a tip-off about a party that's gone way off the rails. Officers rock up, and what do they find? Traces of cocaine in his room, partygoers scattering like seagulls at closing time, and Mam himself looking like he's seen better days. Sources close to the investigation, anonymous, of course, because that's how these things roll, say it was no small amount either, enough to suggest this wasn't a one-off dabble but a deliberate dive back into the deep end. Now, before the Mam fanboys flood the comments with pitchforks, let's be crystal clear. This isn't unverified gossip. Eyewitness accounts from hotel staff leaked to the Daily Telegraph paint a picture of chaos. Music thumping till the early hours, empty bottles everywhere, and a circle of blokes passing around what looks suspiciously like lines on a glass table. Mam, according to one insider, was right in the thick of it, laughing it off until the knock on the door turned the vibe ice cold. ACT policing's keeping stum for now, citing an ongoing probe, but word is charges are looming. Possession, maybe supply if they can tie him to distributing. And get this, it's not just any hotel, it's one stone's throw from Parliament House, the heart of power in this country. Imagine the optics. While our pollies debate drug laws and road safety, here's an NRL poster boy allegedly snorting his way through a scandal that makes his 2024 car crash look like a warm-up act. Speaking of that crash, we can't ignore the elephant in the room, or should I say, the ute in the oncoming lane. Rewind to October 2024, and Mam's behind the wheel of his Ford Ranger, unlicensed because his record was already a dog's breakfast of demerit points and prior suspensions. He's got 0.01 milligrams of cocaine in his blood, traces from a social hit the day before, he claims, and he veers into oncoming traffic, smashing head-on into an Uber carrying a mum, her 4-year-old daughter, and the driver. The little girl ends up with a fractured hip, the others nursing whiplash and bruises that no amount of sorries can erase. Mam pleads guilty in Brisbane Magistrates Court to driving with drugs in his system and no licence. The magistrate, Mark Nolan, doesn't hold back. You made a stupid decision to get behind the wheel with a cocktail of cocaine and other matters in your blood. You could have killed someone, or been killed yourself. Fair dinkum words, mate. He cops an $850 fine, 6 months off the road, no conviction recorded. Soft as butter, right? But the NRL steps in hard. 9-game ban to start 2025, $30,000 fine from the league, another $90,000 from the Broncos, and a stint in rehab plus unpaid labour on a building site under new coach Michael Maguire's watchful eye. Mam fronts the media in February 2025, all contrite and teary-eyed. I shouldn't have driven. There's no excuse for my actions. I'm truly sorry to the victims, my family, the club. He talks about owning it, learning from the pain, reaching out to the injured family after a 2-month delay because the lawyers said so. The Broncos stick by him. Maguire reckons he knows the kid's heart of gold, thanks to chats with his family, and by round 11, Mam's back, scoring tries against the Dragons like nothing happened. Origin 2 call-up follows. A grand final masterclass seals the redemption arc fans eat it up. The headlines scream from crash to clash, Mam's miracle year. But here's where my blood boils. That leniency? It set the stage for this Canberra cock-up. Give a bloke a slap on the wrist once, and what's to stop him thinking the rules don't apply? The NRL's code of conduct is meant to be ironclad. Bringing the game into disrepute earns you the boot, but time and again, talent trumps accountability. Remember Brandon Smith and his 8-ball antics? Or Cameron Munster's barley bender? Slaps on the wrist, back in the jersey, rinse and repeat. It's a pattern that's poisoning the well, mates. And don't get me started on the double standards. Spencer Leniu cops 8 weeks for a racial slur in Vegas. Ugly, no doubt, and rightly punished. But compare that to Mam's near-death drag race on drugs? 9 games feels like a holiday. Queensland's Deputy Premier Jared Blagey nailed it back in December. That $850 court fine doesn't pass the pub test. Everyday Aussies cop thousands for a joint in the glove box, yet our league stars waltz away with pocket change penalties. It's class warfare on the field. In it, the blue-collar fans shelling out for tickets and jerseys deserve better than idols who treat the road like a racetrack and hotel rooms like chemistry labs. This Canberra incident? It's the straw that breaks the camel's back. If Mam's caught with coke again, allegedly partying like the premiership win absolve him, where's the line? Rehab round 2? Another suspension that vanishes into thin air because he's got potential? Or finally, the sack, contract torn up, sent packing to rethink his life choices? Let's zoom out for a sec, because this isn't just about one kid from Cherbourg. Rugby league's built on second chances. Alan Langer came back from burnout, Billy Slater from Origin Blues, but there's a rot creeping in. The pressure on these young blokes is immense. Multi-million-dollar deals at 21, the weight of a fan base on your shoulders, sponsors breathing down your neck. Mam's Indigenous heritage adds another layer. He's a trailblazer, repping his people with that flair in the halves that lights up Suncorp. But glory comes with responsibility, and when you fumble it this spectacularly, twice, you can't cry foul. The Broncos front office knows it. They mulled ripping up his $4 million extension but backed down because, well, talent like his doesn't grow on trees. Maguire's gamble paid off on the park, but off it? This hotel debacle screams unfinished business. Reports say Mam's already lawyered up, denying the possession claims, blaming a misunderstanding with mates who brought their own trouble. Convenient, eh? As if we haven't heard that tune before. Now, for the unpopular bit that might get me hate mail from Broncos diehards. Ezra Mam's not a villain, but is no victim either. The kid's got gifts that could carry Queensland for a decade. Vision like a laser, footwork that leaves defenders in the dust. But until he sorts his headspace, he's a liability. Rehab's great, but it's a band-aid on a bullet wound if the partying pulls him back in. And the league. Time to grow a spine. Mandatory drug testing year-round, not just pre-season tick and flick. Tie fines to earnings. $8.50 for a millionaire? Laughable. Partner with road safety campaigns properly, not just lip service after the crash. Make examples that stick, so the next young gun thinks twice before snorting lines near the nation's capital. Because if we don't, the trust erodes. Kids look up to these blokes, Mam included, and what message are we sending? That premiership glory washes away the grime? Nah, not on my watch. Picture this. It's 2026, and Mam's back in the spotlight, but this time for all the right reasons. Clean slate, leading the Broncos to back-to-back titles, mentoring the rookies on how to handle the highs without the crashes. Possible? Bloody oath, if he wants it. He's shown glimpses, that Origin embrace with Leniu, burying the hatchet on the Vegas slur, the grand final tears, genuine remorse shining through. But one more slip, and it's game over. The Canberra cops wrapping their probe could hand down charges any day now, and the NRL integrity units already circling like sharks. Will it be another 9 games? A full season exile? Or the big one, contract termination, free agency to a club desperate enough to take the risk? Whatever comes, it'll test the lot of us. Fans divided between forgiveness and fury, media feasting on the fallout, the league scrambling to spin it as growth. Mates, that's the rub with unpopular opinions. They're uncomfortable, but they're necessary. Ezra Mam's story isn't black and white. It's a cautionary yarn about talent unchecked, about a sport we love teetering on the edge of farce. We've backed him through the crash, cheered his comeback, but this alleged hotel relapse? It's a wake-up call. Demand better from our stars, from the suits running the show. Because if a bloke can swerve from near-fatal folly to premiership pedestal, only to allegedly stumble into Coke Central again, what does that say about the guardrails? Support the kid if he fights for redemption. but hold the line on accountability. That's the Aussie way, fair go, but no free rides. If you've got thoughts on this, defend Mam, slate the NRL, or reckon it's time for zero tolerance, drop them in the comments below. Smash that like button if you're as fired up as I am, subscribe for more no-holds-barred takes on the footy world, and hit the bell so you never miss an opinion that bucks the trend. Until next time, keep it real, keep it raw, and remember, in rugby league, second chances are sacred, but third strikes? They are strikes. Cheers, legends. See you.